Zorgamazoo, Chapter 5. Okay, let's talk about Chapter 4. Remember, Morty was going home from his job, and the baseball museum, it's not called baseball, it's called something else. What is it called? The museum is going up in flames. And he runs in, even though he's not the adventurous sort, and he saves something, a really important thing. I can't remember what it was. Let's see here. What is it? It's and he was going to go see his dad at the hospital shop, and when he woke up, he was in the hospital shop, and they were wanting to get the ball players' hallway of fame. That's what was on fire, and they wanted to give him a some kind of prize, but it's not really a prize because it's for adventurous people, and they have to go do something. And he didn't want to do it, but his dad talked him into it. His dad was like, "Oh, I wish it was me." Okay, the lottery draw. So this is going to see if he's going to be the one to do the thing. The following night, by the Underwood Mall at the Zorgamazoo Central Community Hall, a billboard was posted inspiring awe. "Welcome," it said, "to the lottery draw." Hundreds of Zorgles awaited inside. They came from all points, from far and from wide. Muscular Zorgles, Zorgles of might, Zorgles renowned to be good in a fight. There was also a stage and an orchestra band who started to play. The show was at hand. The curtains rose up and everyone cheered. Before them was something stupendously weird, a contraption like nothing that you've ever seen, an incredibly intricate marble machine. It bristled with pulleys and spiraling tracks, suspended with rivets and wire and wax. With miniature bridges, with pillars and piers, with levers and winches, and clutches and gears, with pedals and treadles and spinners and spars, with pendulous pivots and balancing bars, with motors and rotors and rollers and ramps, with flickering bulbs and electrical lamps, with fingers and swingers and hinges and hubs, with grabbers and funnels and buckets and tubs, with clockwork propellers, mechanical cranks, and panels and chimneys and channels and planks. Let me show you. I think there was a picture. There's a thing. There it is right there. Okay. And planks. Nobody spoke. Who there would dare? An odd sort of peace had come into the air. The host of the night, the lottery boss, leapt up on the stage and sauntered across. A plump little fellow, this captain of chance, who twitched like his jacket was crawling with ants. "Good evening," he bellowed. "Welcome as well. Are you anxious to start? Are you? I can tell. This machine, as you know, just off to my rear, is the reason you've come. It's the reason you're here. And what a machine! Why, isn't it nice? It's the Hero Selection Divining Device." Everyone clapped. They hollered and cheered, all except Morty. He was scratching his beard. The lottery boss, he waited until the crowd once again was quiet and still. "Your names," he went on, "are within the machine. They're written on marbles. 919. When I yank on the lever that's here at my side, the 900 marbles will go for a ride. They will enter the funnel that starts at the top. They will tumble and roll till they come to a stop, because only one marble will finally roll to the end, to the base, to the Destiny Bowl." The Destiny Bowl was more like a flask. It was heavy and broad, like a barrel or cask. On its side was a letter which Morty could see was written in rubies, a big letter D. "Wait," Morty called, "before we begin. You still haven't said what the winner will win." The lottery boss tipped the brim of his hat. "Well, of course," he exclaimed. "I was getting to that. You see, my good friends, there's adventure ahead. Perhaps you have read what the newspaper said. The countryside Zorgles have all disappeared. They were lost in the night, or so it is feared. So the winner tonight wins a compass, a map, a flashlight, galoshes, a coat, and a cap to help with the search when the going is rough, plus all kinds of other adventuring stuff. And then something better than all else combined, an expenses paid trip to head out there and find the Zorgles who vanished with nary a clue, those countryside Zorgles of Zorgamazoo. To Morty, this sounded like less of a prize and more like a punishment put in disguise. But there wasn't much time to consider for long, for the orchestra started performing a song, and the lottery boss went over to stand in the place where the lever awaited his hand. Now remember, he said, that in any event, this machine is correct 100%. It will magically choose from this clamoring mob the most suitable Zorgle for doing the job. He beamed at the crowd with his simpering grin. Now let the lottery raffle begin. With his hand on the lever, he gave it a push, and the marbles came down with a whish and a whoosh. Then into the funnel and onto the tracks, down through the rivers and wire and wax, guided by channels and panels and planks, battered and clanged in mechanical cranks, over the motors and rotors and ramps, under the glow of electrical lamps, crossing the miniature bridges and piers, rolling and reeling in winches and gears, spiraling down along spinners and spars, bouncing between all the balancing bars, flung by the fingers and into the hubs, caught in the catchers and funnels and tubs. Then when the running was finally done, with odds that were more than 900 to 1, a particular marble was down at the goal, alone on its own in the Destiny Bowl. The lottery boss, he skipped and he hopped to the bowl on the floor where the marble had stopped. He plucked it right up and read what it said. Then he paused, and he frowned, and he waggled his head. "Fancy that," he said softly. "I suppose this is right. Where's Mortimer Y? He's your winner tonight." All of the Zorgles were looking around to see if this Mortimer Y could be found. Mortimer knew they were looking for him. He had won, though the odds were incredibly slim. "It can't be," he thought. They've made a mistake." He was suddenly woozy and started to shake. His palms were all clammy. He thought he would faint, for he was no hero, no idol, no saint. He was just Morty the hack, and he sensed he was having a panic attack. But then he remembered his desperate dad, whose illness was growing increasingly bad. He thought of his pop in that hospital bed, swaddled in gauze from his hips to his head. So, in spite of reluctance, confusion, and fear, the thoughts in his head were surprisingly clear. He planted his feet, he started to rise. He went to the stage and collected his prize. Back at the hospital, Bartleby lay, musing about the events of the day. His mind was befuddled with thoughts of his son, wishing and hoping that Morty had won. So when Morty arrived with a map in his hand, charting the course to a faraway land, old Bartleby smiled. He instantly knew his incredible dream was incredibly true. "Well," Morty croaked with a lump in his throat, "they gave me this map, plus a cap and a coat. It's awful. I won, as you probably guessed, so they're sending me off on some sort of a quest. But I'm not the right guy," he fretfully said. "I'm telling you, Pop, I'm in over..." Let's see here. Guess, so he's sending me off on some sort of a quest. "I'm not the right guy," he fretfully said. "I'm telling you, Pop, I'm in over my head." "Don't be a scaredy cat," Bartleby teased. "Can't you see that I'm happy? I'm terribly pleased. Just do it for me and wipe off the frown. Be happy for once. You'll get out of this town." He looked at his son and uttered a sigh. It was time, he could see, for saying goodbye. "I hope," he said slowly, "you have nothing but luck. But remember, whenever you're stuck in the muck, when the travels are rough and you're stuck up a tree, you remember this, Morty, you've always got me." "Aw, Pop," Morty grumbled. "I love you too, and that's why I'm going. I'll do it for you." Then they hugged one another especially tight, and Morty set off that very same night. Dawn, dawn, dawn.